Hello, you guys. Welcome to episode 2 of Tissue Talk.
Hello,
I'm going to wait for you guys to get on a little bit, see who's jumping on with us today. It's a beautiful day, a little cloudy outside. We've got our coffee and we are ready to talk pain. So exciting. If you haven't been with us before, my name is Julie and this is Mike.
Hey guys.
And we're with Pro To Col Systems. And we are doing an online episode program, I guess you would call it, about different types of chronic pain and all the... Hi, Shay.
What?
Yay, we have somebody. She was my first one yesterday, too.
Shay's on it.
I love it. So instead of just telling you about different techniques to do and different things like that, I really am a big believer in doing concept and theory. And I love the idea of understanding the depths of why. And that really makes it important for me. Part of what I do, besides own the business here, which we are a sports performance and therapy center, we do comprehensive therapy, rehab, functional training, functional movement, the whole nine. But I also am an instructor and I do a lot of the science classes at ICOS, which is a health science college. And I do the kinesiology and anatomy and pathology and physiology amongst all these other classes. So it's fun for me to get a chance to really talk with all of the people that make it part of our team, and we get to come together and really see what you guys are all about and really teach you guys a little bit of something so that you can actually help your own body. So today we're talking about pain, chronic pain, pain and injury. And this, I love this, and I think you're going to be really excited. Pain. Yeah, we live for pain. We live for it.
We love to help people get out of pain.
So we have titled this episode "Pain, Pain, Go Away" because we know everybody and their mama wants to go out of pain.
Everybody's mama.
We have so many people that are sitting in pain, so much chronic pain out there, and we want to know, what is pain? You know, I think people have an understanding of pain as something physical that happens to them. A lot of times people will have a pain from heartbreak or sadness.
So many different kinds
right?
of types
There's
of pain.
So many different things out there. And is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it personal? There's a lot of pain out there.
Is it just perceived or is it actually there?
Yeah, that too. Like really, what is it? So pain is actually defined as an unpleasant sensory and emotional experience with an acute or actual and potential tissue damage. That's the study of pain, a 2011 study from the International Association for the Study of Pain. So it really goes back to, it's more sensory oriented. Like there is actual things that are happening to our body as far as damage that goes on. But it's how do we work with that physical damage and how do we perceive it? That's really the definition of pain, which I find so interesting. So pain actually, it varies from person to person.
Absolutely. Right?
Everybody has an individual experience of pain. And if you talk about it, a lot of times you'll ask somebody who's had something and they were just like, this was the worst experience I've ever had. You know, like I broke my arm and it was awful. And then the other person was like,
More important than that, I think a lot of people have been going through this right now, is the experience of helping your child with their work from school. That pain runs deep. It scars.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go on. What were you saying?
Yeah. There's a lot of emotional pain there too.
What?
Psychological pain. Yes.
Irish coffee.
So what I want to do is we're going to define what is acute pain,
right.
What is subacute pain, what is chronic pain. We're going to go through all of the different theories that the reason why chronic pain came to be, sorry, I have something in my face, and how they actually figured out what pain, the theory behind it, and what we're using now, and how much it's associated with the nervous system, and the brain is such a big part of pain. And then what can we do about it? Because at the end, it doesn't do us any good to not tell you how to get out of pain if you don't know what to go into pain with, right?
What it comes down to is the brain processes all the information everything around you.
It does.
And so what is pain? Pain is just information that's entering your brain, and the brain has to then process it.
Totally.
How does your brain process it? That's where the tricky part comes in. But otherwise, all the sensors that you're getting throughout whatever you just hurt in your body, that's all just information going up to the brain. It's how it's then processed is what we're going to try to dive into.
Yeah, it's the body is amazing. I have such a huge love affair with the body. Every time I talk about it, it's so amazing, you guys, how much our bodies are just incredible. And we have all of these. There is the nervous system. We're going to go into this at a later date, but we have a nervous system, right? The brain and the spinal cord is the central nervous system. It goes down into the peripheral nervous system, which jumps into all of the body parts. And then the brain is telling the body parts what to do. The body parts are sending signals back up to the brain, like, hey, I want to move this. Hey, there's a spider crawling on my leg. I'd like to smack it off. Hey, I'd like to pick up my leg. And then the brain's like, okay, pick up your leg, and then it goes through. The body is sending pain signals. It's sending stimulation signals. It's sending I'm being overstretched signals. There's so many sensors that are going through. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down the theories of pain, where it started from, and then we're going to talk to you through about this pain cycle, and then how to actually get rid of your own pain cycle, because I find that it's amazing. Like when you guys really understand the pain part of it, it's going to make life so much easier for so many people. So many people.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think empowerment, if you guys know, I'm all about really educating people, and we're all about empowering them to allow you guys to really understand your own body. And when you understand your own body, then you can take this really educated look at what's working and what isn't. And it's amazing. So let's start here. Let's start with a theory of pain. Like, where did it all come from? Where does pain actually show up from? So the first theory of pain was in the 16th century. It was this French philosopher and mathematician, of all things, Descartes. And he proposed the first theory of pain. His pain theory was, it's the specificity theory of pain. That's a tough one to say. Sorry.
Glad you said it.
And basically what it is the amount of pain that is proportionate to the amount of tissue damaged. So basically, if you take your hammer and you hit yourself in the thumb, you're going to get the same amount of pain that you damaged your tissue with. But it didn't really match up, because what if you have like a paper cut? Like, that's not a lot of tissue damage, but that hurts like hell. I don't know if anybody else has had one, but those things hurt. And then what else it didn't do is it proposed a lot of different things, but it was really basic. It was just like, if I cut myself here, if I scratch or cut myself, then that's where it's going to hurt, and that's it. And it didn't really go into all of the emotional aspects of it.
They were so basic back in the 16th century.
So
basic.
They were. I mean, it's like minimal damage equals major pain. They could not figure that one out. So they kind of just jumped in back and forth. So in 1965, like, this is how long ago. That was the way it was up until the 1965. So it was amazing, right? The 20th century is like, that's when everything started to change. So there was this guy named Melzack, and he proposed the gate control theory of pain, which is what the majority of all of our therapy, all manual therapy, physical therapy, all of the massage therapy, that's what it's all been based around for the longest time. That's why stuff didn't start rolling up until like the 70s and 80s and 90s. Like, people weren't really paying attention to it, because they all thought, like, whatever you hurt, you hurt. And the more you hurt, the more it hurts. The more damage you do, the more it hurts. That's kind of where it was. But in 1965, they figured out that there was this gate control theory of pain. And what's interesting in that is that they basically said that the non-pain, so you have non-pain stimuli and you have pain stimuli, right? So they're saying that the non-pain stimuli goes on there are shorter and faster nerves that go. They travel on the larger and the faster nerves.
Right.
And then the pain stimuli travel on the slower and shorter nerves. And everything is rooted in your spinal cord, at the roots of your spinal cord, right? So they're talking about it like there's this gatekeeper of pain. And if you can actually beat the pain to the nerve root via ice, via heat, massage, compression, menthol, like icy hot, then you can shut off the gatekeeper of pain. That's where the whole ice and heat and all of the icy hot stuff.
Your cannabis rubs.
Yeah, that's where it all came from. How cool is that? So it kind of came through like we just have to beat that pain to the center and then we're good. But what was interesting is that it took into account some of the sensory stuff, but it didn't take into account all of it, right? It's just basically like, let's beat them there. Let's hopefully that we'll be able to ice it down and then nobody will be in pain anymore and then we can start the healing process. Right. Woo! But on doing his studies, Mike Melzak was like, there's got to be something more. There's got to be something more to it because there were people that were still in pain. And even though they were doing all of the stuff that was happening, it wasn't getting any better. And they were still in pain. It's still in pain, right? And so in 2001, he came back again and had the neuromatrix theory of pain, which is alive and well today. And this is where...
But you all know about that.
Yeah, I mean, and talk is over. So the neuromatrix theory of pain, this is really the coolest thing because what they found is there's actually emotions that go with pain. And pain is one of several outputs produced by the brain. Like just one of many. It's like so multifaceted. And so what it does is it takes input from perception, emotional states, past experiences, right? And then it could be triggered by the inflammation or pathology, but it can also occur on its own. Have you ever had that stuff where you're like, I don't even know how I did it. I just ended up in pain. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, yeah, we hear that all the time. Like, I got a call today from like, I don't know what happened, but I've got this pain in my leg and I don't know where it came from. We do. You do actually, and you're going to know today. So how is this actually possible, right? So pain, people think that pain is something physical that happens. How does this all work? So here's what it happens. It actually divides itself into several parts. All input comes into all different areas. So you have this somatosensory. So what the inside, like a somatic sense is what you're feeling on the inside, right? And so there's this feeling of pain. How does the pain feel? Is it burning? Is it tingling? Is it aching? What's the intensity of pain? That's still somatosensory. It's still your sensation of what it is. How many times have you hurt yourself? What's the frequency of that? You know? And what's the duration? How long does it last? And then how many different places in the body? Like the distribution of pain. Thank you for the thumbs up. I love that. The motivational effective. No, it's super cool. What's your emotional state? Right? Like how do you feel emotionally about the pain? That's what people don't understand is that your emotions are tied directly into 100%. Your pain.
Absolutely.
Like 100%. That's the super coolest part about this. And then also your brain is constantly going back and forth to like, has this happened to me before? So all of your past experiences and how you handle the stress of that plays into it too. So this is why it's so cool to know this. Is that your pain response is directly determined by how your body sensors, it's the neuromatrix, your body sensors interprets the pain.
Absolutely. As you learn more about why it's there, you can actually help control your pain and why you're experiencing that pain to help you get out of pain in the future.
Yeah.
Or even in the pain you're in presently.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. So let's say something happens, right? Boom, something happens. So then your nerves respond to just what happened. Then you have voluntary and involuntary responses. You're cussing, you're yelling, you've got other coping strategies, right? Because we scream and yell.
We noticed that. Have you guys ever watched Mythbusters? They did a whole study on cursing and pain response, and how long you can hold out for pain, or your pain threshold can go up by the words that you're emoting as you're going through the experience. And they found that you can't just say butterflies, cupcakes, and that did not work. You had to go for the deep. And when people dug deep for those words, they had a lady on, I can't remember her name, but when she yelled out words, the guys were going, whoa. They never even thought of putting those words together, yet she was able to withstand. And women tend to have a higher pain tolerance. Not all the time.
Why.
They tend to do. But her numbers, just for her alone, they did a control of her just saying cupcakes and flowers and the other thing. And then using these curse words that she was using, she held out a lot longer. And it's all because of the words.
Yeah, it's authentic versus inauthentic self is really true. Like if you are really not feeling it, it's gonna take your pain and it's gonna drop it on the inside instead of being an outlet for it to go away. Sure. So you're holding on to it if you're not authentic with it. So you not only are you swearing, you're cussing, you're swearing, you're yelling, because all sorts of stuff is going on. You've got all these different coping strategies that you're coming in with. And then you have your involuntary, which is your sympathetic nervous system is like, what? And your hormones like go crazy. You're releasing adrenaline, you're releasing cortisol. It's involuntary. It's what your body does. Your sympathetic nervous system is the involuntary part. It's your heart rate going up. It's your eyeballs dilating. It's everything like getting ready for hurting yourself. The cool thing is that the neuromatrix, all your body sensors, they can actually modulate their own input. They can adjust itself. So now let's put 2 and 2 together on how do we change how we are feeling in that pain cycle based on how do we adjust it. So now we have this idea like, hey, wait a minute, if I can, my reaction with pain is directly results in how the pain I'm having. So each person does this differently and each person regulates their own response. It's called your neurosignature, which I think is really cool. And it fully embraces the brain's ability to change, remodel, and reorganize itself to improve adaptability. It's neuroplasticity, which is a big talk in our world these days. Everybody talks about neuroplasticity, but nobody ever understands what it is. And the more we're learning about the brain and the body's role together in pain, we're realizing how much power we have to change our own and to fix ourselves, because no therapist can fix you. We fix ourselves, and it's all really what we do in here. So what does that mean for us then?
As therapists or as
like
humans?
As humans.
Okay.
So it means that when we repeatedly practice a sequence or movement, any kind of activity, or are repeatedly exposed to new experiences, there's always new neural pathways forming. Always. You're constantly putting your brain on like work mode. So you have to be, and that's experiencing, that's not disconnecting. Like try this. Okay, let's do a math problem. You get to do it, not me. 8 times 4.
Okay.
Okay. Plus 3.
36.
Okay. Plus 11. Okay. Minus 9. What does that equal?
37.
Very good.
Oh.
Good job. 37.
Yeah, Shay, I know you already got the answer before you got finished. I know.
So listen, the reason why I'm giving that is because if you guys had to do that at home, which I'm sure you guys all thought of, the first time you had to do that, your brain's like going crazy because you're literally following along with me, going back and forth between like 8 times 4 is 32, plus 3 is 35, plus 11, 36. See, the math is not my thing. Good thing that I know the body. Anyway, the first time you're doing it, your brain has to adapt to all that new stimuli. But now, if I do this again and I go 8 times 4 plus 3 plus 11 minus 9 equals
37.
8 times 4 plus 3 plus 11 minus 9 equals...
Wait for it, 37.
Yeah. So then there's no new stimuli. And if you have no new stimuli, then your body there's no growth. Math is hard. This is, hello, blonde. I swear, this is not my thing. Math is something that gets my eyes to glaze over.
But it's also like this. It's the first time you're going to try something. You can be nervous about trying because you've never done it before. You have a lot of fears going in, like, am I going to look stupid? Am I going to get hurt? This is dumb. And you can find all reasons to not do it because you've never done it before. But then you've done it that first time, and you're going to find, if it was enjoyable at least that first time, you're going to want to do it again. You're going to do it better the second time you did it, and the third and fourth, and you keep getting better and better at it.
Right. And think about this, though, Shay, is that how does this result in pain and pain cycle, right? If you keep doing the same thing over again, your body is disconnecting and it's not getting any new stimuli. It's going to go back to the same thing it felt before.
And the same experience is going to, the pain's going to come up the same.
Exactly. And that's where chronic pain comes in. Because your body doesn't know any better. It's like creating new patterns, right? And so we get into a disconnect where we're automatically like, we do something and we're like, oh, it's going to feel like that. Oh, it's going to feel like that. And then we either get a fear for, instead of doing it, we don't want to because we have that fear of what could be. And or we go back into the old experience and then we start changing how we're doing things based on we're so afraid to be in pain. So this directly relates to the pain cycle. That's what this is called. So this is why this is so important to know. So if you can understand how our pain cycle works, then we can actually move ourselves potentially out of getting pain.
Change the cycle.
Yeah, so let's break this down, okay?
We can.
Yes, go Mike.
That's all I got right
now. So Mike, be on your phone, like you always are. So Mike's walking down the street, and he's texting on his phone, because he always does. And you know you do too. Don't play innocent. You know you do. So listen, your foot, now he's walking down the street, and his foot lands on an uneven part of the sidewalk, and he twists his ankle, right? So all of a sudden now, his brain is now barraged with information about ankle movements, loss of balance, and it begins the task of evaluating the situation. Like, that's its job. The body is like, uh-oh, the brain's like, oh crap, this happened. And this is all happening really quickly. So then your cognitive areas instantly survey your surroundings. So they send a message comparing what just happened to what's happened in previous events to see whether or not you're in danger.
Yeah.
Like that's their job. And this is all going on like in the moment, like in the 2 seconds that you roll your ankle. Your emotions then come into play. And that evokes like fear, anxiety of like, oh crap, I did this before and I know what it is. Or, oh my God, I don't know, am I going to be able to walk again? I'm going to be able to move.
Could this be in your own experiences, or as you were growing up, maybe somebody else's experiences that they told you about, how what they experienced, so you didn't even have to experience it yourself.
Could be.
But you could have something that's tied in from an early childhood.
Absolutely.
That you knew.
It could be. It really, it's your perception of it, right? So it's internalized. It doesn't have to be it actually happened to you prior necessarily. It's something that your experience, it's a trigger, is what happened. So once your emotions come into play, now you're in like the whole, and then your sympathetic nervous system jumps right back in, and it's like, here we go.
So
fight or flight jumps in. And so up goes your heart rate, your adrenaline, your breathing, your perspiration. You know, you're like, everything is just jumping in. Now, if your brain decides that this event is like non-threatening, then you just go keep walking, and you like text away, and you're like, oh my God, I just rolled my ankle. If your brain thinks that there was something that really bad happened to you in the past, like if you did this before and you had a third degree strain on your ankle, right? Or sprain, sorry. So if you have a 3rd degree ankle sprain before, then your brain may perceive this as a really bad accident and generate enough pain to get your attention, so that you then have to call somebody for help.
And maybe you actually did
potentially
roll it, and it's swollen up like a balloon.
It could be, or it couldn't be, and you have that pain sensation that comes back in. So it's your brain's response to pain, which is so cool.
It's always the brain's response to the stimulus going into it.
Right.
Always.
So now let's look at the types of pain, right? So So that's what happens. So then that would be acute pain.
Sure.
So
Right
we've heard the people say like, oh my God, is it acute? Well, like you hurt yourself and then you go to the doctors or you go wherever you go and they said, well, is it acute or is it like chronic or is it subacute? Like, what is it? And a lot of people are like, I don't know what it is. It hurts. So
I just did it.
right, exactly. Acute is, I just did it. I just stepped in a pothole. I just had surgery. My throat is killing me.
I just helped my kids with their homework.
That's a whole different type of pain.
That doesn't go away.
It's usually less than 30 days, and it's your injuries, your diseases, your invasive procedures like surgeries and stuff. And acute pain is usually, it's really predictable. And it's usually accompanied by swelling, lack of improper movement or proper movement, like you can't move it. Sometimes it's heat, tissue, it's all from tissue damage, right? Excuse me. All right. As the tissue starts to heal, most of the time it starts to diminish.
Right.
So like the swelling will start to go down, the heat will go down, the redness will go down.
Going so.
And then most of the time people will just resume their active life. But if it doesn't, and it diminishes to a point, but then it doesn't, then you go into a subacute phase. And subacute pain means that your inflammation, your heat, your redness have subsided, but yet you're still left with pain. So there's acute and there's subacute. And then
What happens 3 months later, Julie?
chronic pain shows up, right? It's crazy.
Yeah,
Chronic pain, you guys. Chronic pain. Chronic pain is anything over 3 months. So if the persistent pain doesn't go away in 3 months, that's the dividing line between acute pain and chronic pain. So here's the kicker. Acute pain is pain that is attractive or pretty in an endearing way. Yeah, I think it's a different type of acute pain. There's acute pain and then there's acute pain. And acute pain is not pretty and it definitely not make you attractive. It usually gives you the ugly cry face. Like, chronic pain, it reflects the state of the client's nervous system. Right? So back again, your nervous system, again, is reflected in your pain. This is really important now because so many people have anxiety based on this quarantine that's going on. That your people's chronic pain are through the roof because they can't disassociate one with the other. And so people are getting into more pain, which is generating more pain, which is generating anxiety, which is generating more pain, and their nervous system is overloaded.
Stress.
Yeah, totally. So, according to the National Institute of Health, in 2015, 25.3 million adults experienced chronic pain.
That's a lot of people in pain.
And that was 2015.
That's chronic pain. This has been sitting around for a long time.
Yeah, chronic pain. Crazy. And that's 5 years ago. And so I can only imagine that there's a lot more going on right now. 25, more than 25
Just
million.
the calls when I get my clients right now is experiencing all this. It's gone way up.
Well, nearly 40 million adults are in severe pain.
Severe.
Like severe pain. That just means the chronic pain has risen to a point where they're just, I can't even deal. Chronic pain is like, I feel it every day. Every day. Severe pain is where it's debilitating. Severe pain, you guys. 40 million. 40 million people. So how does acute pain progress into chronic pain?
It's going to be all tied into the emotions, tied into how you interpret that experience that you had when you received the pain initially.
Sure. I mean, realistically,
and how your body deals with it.
Yeah, like depression plays a role, the pain intensity and the duration plays a role, genetics play a role a lot of times because we tend to get things passed down, unfortunately. But it's true. Your own belief system about how you deal with pain usually is the predictor of if it will become chronic or not.
I don't care if you think you have a high pain tolerance. it all depends on where you are at the moment and the type of pain it is and what you're experiencing. Because I've had people lay on the table and they said, I have high pain tolerance, I can take anything. Yeah. And you just lay your hand gently on them and they're jumping off the table. It's like,
totally.
High pain tolerance, huh? They expected they would have a high pain tolerance because they're used to being able to experience a lot. This is a different kind of pain that they're experiencing at the moment, and they're not used to that. And so with that new touch, that new stimulus, they just go through the roof. So we get to bring it down. And that tells me that their sympathetic system is just firing off.
Right.
So our job would then be to bring it back down and get them into that parasympathetic.
We're going to get him into the circle.
We get him rolling.
So that brings up a good point. That's like sensitization. So if we're oversensitized on something, it means our threshold is really low. But what is a pain perception? Like what is your perception of pain? It's like super subjective. It's completely individual. And it's your own interpretation of an unpleasant experience. Yeah. Like for me and you, I have a different interpretation than you do.
Yeah, two people go experience exactly the same thing at the same time. Two vastly different experiences.
And you guys know this. It happens all the time, right? Where you'll be with somebody and somebody will be like, that was the worst thing ever. And you're like,
that was awesome.
It was all right. I mean, he's being a wuss. Again. That's that whole like, you're being such a wuss. You have a hangnail. Stop being a wussy. It's your pain perception, you guys. You can't get so hardcore on them.
Saying that.
I'm sorry, I have to. So listen, the factors that influence pain perception, it's your gender, your race, your age, your ethnicity, your emotions, again. Obesity is a big role in there. Levels of physical activity or lack thereof physical activity, and sleep deprivation.
Sleep deprivation is a big one.
It's a big one. If you guys are so sleep deprived, everything is going to be, everything is going to be like way over. You're going to be oversensitized to a lot of stuff that you normally wouldn't be.
Wash your hands, get your sleep.
Yeah, please. And drink a lot of water. So pain threshold. So we have pain perception, right? Uh-huh. And then pain threshold. Did I yell at you?
No, I got scared. I was like, I'm like this. I'm in fight or flight right now.
I know. I get so ramped up talking about this stuff. Can you tell?
It's palpable.
I know. I get excited. I can't help it. So look, your pain threshold. Everybody's got a pain perception, but they also have pain threshold and pain tolerance. What's the difference between pain threshold and pain tolerance?
That's a good question. I'm glad you asked that.
I know.
What do you think it is?
Okay. See how he served that one up? Pain threshold, it's the minimum intensity of stimulus perceived as painful. It's still your internal experience. It's the lowest amount of stimulus that you perceive as pain, right? It's the lower end. The pain tolerance is your max level. So your threshold is down here, your tolerance is up here. And again, it's completely specific to each person. Right? It's the specific stimulus of pain that somebody is willing to experience. And some people have a very high pain tolerance, and some people
don't. For certain things.
And then they don't for other things. And that's the coolest part, you guys, is sometimes if you are not emotionally attached to something, your pain threshold goes high. If you are emotionally attached to whatever it is that's going on, your body, your life, your children's life, your job, your lifestyle, your pain tolerance goes down. You don't tolerate it very well because you are attached to it. Like, do you see how cool that is? So, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm completely nerd, but I love this stuff. I'm a total nerd, but I love this stuff. And we're gonna get into in a minute, how do we take care of this? So now we know what it is, right? We know the why, and now we get to talk about how to take it out,
right,
and how to keep it out. And that is pain management. So you've got these things called your nociceptors, which are your pain sensors, right? And they are the ones that are like, we're in pain, and they run up to the brain and they send it a signal, and then your brain drops it back down, and they're just like, okay, we're gonna work on sensitization. And every time there's more brain power,
We
like
should
more
have an animation
nociceptors.
to this.
I know.
We need an animation. That'd be awesome.
Every time there's more like sensory overload in your brain with the nociceptors, your threshold is reduced.
Yeah.
So that's what we're saying. Like the more sensation you're getting up here, the less sensation you have downstairs. Your threshold drops. And so you'll get overloaded. And that's why a lot of times people are like, oh God, don't touch it. Ah, don't touch it. Because they're attached. It's an emotional neural attachment to it. Mm-hmm. And it's subconscious. It's not something we know what we're doing. It's like a totally subconscious thing.
Yeah, it's not that you want to be that way.
No, who wants to be like this? Although
there's a thing.
There is a thing where we get attached to being in chronic pain. So there is that where we are emotionally attached to our chronic pain and we don't really want to let it go because we don't know what we would do without it. So we're going to talk about that in a second too. In 2018, the Consortium Pain Task Force, they did a study and they said that manual therapy, massage therapy, and non-pharmacological approaches are the front line in treating acute, subacute, and chronic low back pain. They said that patients with chronic low back pain who underwent biopsychosocial rehab programs, that's pain education, along with therapy and reprogramming. Basically, working on somebody, educating them, giving them homework so that they understand it. They experienced less pain, fewer disabilities, and improved work status compared with patients who received standard or usual care.
Right.
Like, that is huge. Huge. What does that mean? That means you get to touch people, you get to work on people, you get to educate them, and you get to empower them. And the more we know about our bodies and what's working or not working with our bodies, how patterns have changed, we're able to get out of chronic pain. Like, we can keep people out of chronic pain if they choose to want to be out of chronic pain.
There's so many different reasons why someone is experiencing pain. We get to look at all of them.
Yeah.
Because if you miss one, it's going to tend to come back. And it's going to come back. Sometimes come back with a vengeance.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. So why, if in the big game of things, right? We just spent, like, I don't even know how long this was.
3
10,
hours.
20. According to some of you, way too long. Talking about pain, right? Pain and injury. But why in the big picture? Listen, I don't care if you go to us. I don't care if you go to another physical therapist. I don't care who you're going to. But if you don't connect with your own body and become an active player in the game of rehab for yourself, it will not change your outcome. That's the big aha takeaway on this. Your brain is associating everything you've done in the past. So if you've gone to somebody who has hurt you in the past, who has put you in pain in the past, who has worked too hard on you in the past, you immediately go into a trigger and then you don't allow that next person to get out of the pain cycle. It starts all over again for you. However, if you directly say, look, I'm going to be accountable for my own therapy. I'm going to be accountable for my own wellness. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to feel, what does it feel like when I'm actually moving my shoulder and retracting it based on the fact that instead of using my pec in the front, I'm using the muscles in my back. Mm-hmm. Because after a while we start to change how we're moving. And if you are a somebody who is an active and proactive player in your own health, then you can actually change up your chronic pain and you can get out of it and keep it out. Mm-hmm. But it really takes you being accountable for you. I think a lot of times, and you can tell me what you think, a lot of times people really want to stay in pain because they really don't want to connect with the parts that have kept them there because it's so emotional for them. Well,
that becomes part of their identity. They've always had pain, so that's why they expect themselves to always be in pain.
Sure.
And and it's sometimes hard to get through to an individual that they can change where they are. Right. They can change the position they're in just by beginning to understand where's all this pain coming from, and it can be coming from a lot of different systems, all coming into one. So we get to experience or get the knowledge of why that pain is there, all the different reasons why the pain is there, and address them all.
Yeah.
Because if you don't address them, then you're just going to keep going through the same cycles over and over again.
And that's what the whole theory is based on, you guys, is that it's so much more than just physical. There's so much mental and emotional attachment to it. Your brain is constantly working for you. Your body really does want you to be better. It's really trying to get you into that homeostasis. It wants balance. It doesn't like being out of balance. But it comes to a point where it doesn't understand what balance is because we've warped it for so many years with doing other things. So if we can actually take a proactive role in our own health and allow us to release that emotion that's tied to whatever injury we have, be it personal, be it emotional, be it spiritual, be it physical,
whatever.
We have to be able to release it and let it go. And the minute we are able to do that, things change, and they'll change permanently. And that's the beauty of what we do.
Is it permanent, or can they slip back into that?
Oh, yeah, you can slip back in.
It's easy to fall right back into
have
that
to
pain
be,
cycle.
Yeah, you have to be committed to your own health, and you have to be doing it all the time.
The trick is then knowing that you slip back into that cycle and be able to, you can get yourself back out.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. I think that's the biggest thing that for what we do, and for the people that we see a very proactive client that really do want to get out of this pain. They've had it. They're tired. They're tired of being in pain.
They've seen everybody
Pain
else.
is exhausting. They have seen a lot of people. They haven't felt heard. They haven't felt helped. They haven't really felt empowered to do it on their own. And I think a lot of times people have a tendency to, they give up their power to someone else because they want that person to fix them.
Right.
And really the biggest thing is you are the one that fixes you.
You fix you.
Nobody else can do it. The rest of the whole medical community are facilitators. We can facilitate via all different types: manual therapy, massage therapy, physical therapy, regenerative therapy, doing surgery. It's facilitating. But at the end of the day, you are in charge of you, and you are in your own body.
I mean, if you want to pay us to be with you all day long and correct you all day long, every single day, we can be open to that. But really, you have the power to do it yourself, and you get to, because we've got other things to do, really.
It's powerful. It's really powerful. So I hope really you enjoy what we're doing. I really want you to get the why behind all of the techniques that you see. I want you to get the why your body is so powerful, why your body is so amazing. Why? I'm a big whyer. I enjoy the why. Yeah. I want you guys to take a proactive view on your body and your health, because when you can do this, it really does change everything. It doesn't mean you're going to be out of pain for the rest of your life, but it does mean, like Mike said, that you're going to be able to
have the tools to correct most of the pain you're in.
Yeah.
You just get to learn. And so that's what we are here to help you learn how to do that.
Yep.
And people like us. There's a lot of us
There's
out there
a lot of us
who
out
are there to help you
Yeah.
learn. And if you really want to learn, we can help you, and then you have the tools.
Yeah.
And then occasionally, we all need each other's help every now and again.
Yeah.
So we're there to help for the new things that come up, but for the most part, once you've learned it, you can have your own tools to keep you out of pain permanently.
Yeah, 100%. So, hey, I hope you guys have liked this. Please let me know. You can leave some comments. You tell your friends. We're going to be doing this every Wednesday at 12:30. We're going to be doing a Facebook Live based on different types of pain. We're going to be doing fascia.
What are we doing next week?
The thing we're going to be doing next week is, there are so many people sitting at home right now.
Yeah.
And I really want you guys to understand the difference between muscles that are long and weak and short and weak. Because when muscles don't have a chance to contract and get blood in them, they don't do very well, and then joints get to be pulled out.
Joints suffer.
So a lot of times what will happen is, as we're sitting at our desks, as we're sitting like this, doing this, the muscles in our back are overstretched, and they don't have any kind of contractile function because we're not actually using them. And the muscles in the front are over contracted, and so they're too tight.
Over contracted?
the head hits forward, and the head is a heavy head. The average head weighs 7 pounds. If you move it every inch is 7 pounds, 7 pounds, 7 pounds. You drop your head forward, it can become a 42-pound head, right? Or more, depending on how heavy your head is. Some people have dense heads. The other thing too is, if I'm going to leave you guys with this thought. If all of your muscles are being underused and underutilized, and you have this big head that's sitting forward, where you're texting or doing the computer, the vertebrae, your neck and your upper back, the vertebrae now have to function where the muscles aren't. And that's where you're going to get that whole like hump, that dowager's hump start, that overflexion of like the forward head. It's actually your joints moving and adapting to the underuse of your muscles.
Yep.
And it's like, it's totally fixable, but I really want to go into how we can do this on our own, because I mean, who knows how long we're going to be sitting in here.
That's right.
I want to be able to, you guys get yourselves together.
So tune in next week, and
Yep.
we're going to bring you more great information.
Yeah, next week at 12:30, we're going to be talking muscles and joints and compensatory patterning for like sitting, forward head syndrome, and pelvis syndrome. Okay, I hope you had a great time, and we will see you real soon.
Have a great day.
Bye.
This couch was amazing.